I am Dave Koss, and this is another Brograph tutorial. We're going to be talking more about GripTools today, specifically the OSC plugin. This is kind of a part 2 of the one I did with the pumpkin earlier. I'd like to show a good practical example of how you can use something like this. There's the OSC interface, which I used on the last one. And I've done some experiments with it, and I think it's really cool for like controlling puppeting and stuff like that, making eyes move back and forth. There's so many different things you could do with this software that I think it's really cool to show. There is a demo version that you can get, and you can follow along. And I'm going to put a little bit of Halloween into this as well, so you can get in the Halloween spirit. And if it's not October when you're watching this, I'm sorry. So I'm starting with a new Cinema 4D project, and I'm going to create a sphere. I'm going to add a tag to the sphere, simulation tag, and it's going to be a cloth collider. I'm also going to make this a non-primitive by hitting C. Then I'm also going to create a plane, and I'm going to make it about almost 200% bigger than it was. You can see the relation here in size. It doesn't have to be exactly like mine, but something close to that. And same thing on the plane. It needs to be non-primitive. I'm going to hit C. I'm going to go add a cloth simulation tag. I'm going to tell the stiffness of this cloth to be 1% and flexion to be about 5. That's a good start. I've made my project 300 frames to start, and let's hit play and see what happens. Alright, I'm draping this fabric over the sphere. Now what happens is it starts to intersect itself, and we don't want that. So there's a couple things you have to do. In your cloth tag, there's an expert tag, and you want to make sure that you turn on self-collisions and global intersection analysis, and go ahead and put subsampling to 6, because I can tell you it's going to have to be at least at that for now. And hit play again. Takes a little bit longer to do the simulation, but there are less collisions going on. Now there are some collisions still that you can see going on in here, and you will get more as the tutorial progresses here. So just trust me when I say on your cloth tag under expert tab, you should change the points, edges, and polys and their collision distances. In this case, I've tested this before, and I'm going to go ahead and just say put it at 15 centimeters now, and you can go up and down from there, but it will make a difference later on. And if it's not working, you can jack it up a little bit more until it is no longer intersecting. Alright, so this cloth is doing its thing here. It's very segmented looking. Like if I render this out, it looks pretty bad. And of course the solution for that is to throw a HyperNurbs on it. There we go, that's a lot better. So now we're looking more like cloth. So we're going to turn this into a ghost for the purpose of this tutorial. And let me show you how to do that. If you click on your cloth tag and go to the tag tab, that's hard to say, turn off cloth engine, because we don't want to do our cloth engine right now. We're going to focus on the sphere. In fact, I'm going to turn off this plane right now in my editor so I can see what I'm doing here with this sphere. Now let me bring up my OSC software. Okay, now what I want to use by default is one of these XY pads, which are pretty cool. You can see you can move it around like that. Now I'm going to use this to move the sphere from the top. So I'm going to be moving on the Z and X axis. I'm going to make this a little smaller so we can see what's going on here. And I'm going to go up to plugins and open my GripTools. Under input device, I'm going to select OSC. Now, I talked about this in the last one, but your settings, your output settings on your iPad generally are set to port 8000. So I'm going to select port 8000 here, and I've already configured my IP address and all that stuff to work. I'm going to start the server and put these side by side, and you'll see whenever I start moving this OSC trigger here, it's getting coordinates. Now those coordinates are being fed into Cinema 4D. So I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to hit play. It's going to ramp up here. Now we're going to attach these coordinates to the sphere. The way that we do that is we click on the sphere and we add a GripTools tag. You can see it appears down here, and we're going to tell it that we want to do completely custom. And so I'm going to click on the sphere and go to coordinates. We're going to change the X coordinates and Z coordinates. So I'm going to put in X and Z, and I'm going to link those to the two different positions coming from the iPad. Now on the bottom here, I got to change this other position to Z manually so that I get both inputs going to the two separate parts of this piece of the interface. So with that going and my iPad up here, I'm going to start moving this around. You can see what it's doing. If I go back into Cinema, I go to the top view, this will give you a better idea of what's going on and how it corresponds. Now, it's not aligned, it's backwards. So in the tools, I actually want to flip these. I want this to be the second one and this one to be the first one. Try that again. There we go. I'll show you on my iPad here. See? So that's moving around. So that's fun. Now let's finish our ghost. So to record, I am going to hit this AR button, which is for all record, and it turns on record on all my channels. And I'm going to put it in record mode up here as well. Now, when I hit play, it's going to start recording what I'm doing. So I'm going to hit play and move this around. And I'm going to turn it off. And you can see here, if I turn off record mode and I put these X and Y positions back into play mode here, you can see that it's doing exactly what I did with the iPad. Now I want to fix a little bit of this. Nothing really happened at the beginning, so I'm going to adjust this. Say till about right here. So you've got all of these keyframes, and then you can just go in and delete and adjust whatever you want. So when I started moving it right here, that's the keyframe I want to be at the beginning, so I'm just going to roll that right back. So there's my pattern. And you can see it in 3D here, what's going on. Now if I go back to the beginning and I turn my plane back on and just kind of get my plane over the sphere, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to go to dresser real quick, and now that that's pretty much centered, not quite, I'm going to go to my dress I'm sorry, my initial state, and I'm going to set my initial state for this piece of cloth. I'm also going to go up to the tag tab, and I'm going to turn my cloth engine back on. And I want to relax this piece on top of the sphere so that it kind of looks like a ghost. So I'm going to go to dresser, and I want to relax this quite a bit. I'm going to tell it, let's say, well, let's start with 30 steps. Hit relax. Now, what you might have happen here, and this happens to me every now and then, is that it goes right through the collider object like it's not even there. The solution to that is to go to your collider object, to the tag, the collider tag, turn it off, turn it back on. Then when you go back to your fabric and you tell it to relax, it'll actually work. I don't know why it does that, but sometimes it does. So I'm telling this to go 30 steps. Not quite where I want it, so I'm going to tell it to continue on, do another 30 steps. And it's going to start to come together here. That's a good point. That's a good starting point. Now that I have it there, I'm going to tell it initial state. I want to set this initial state. So this is where my cloth will actually start. Now it will start down. We won't see it fall down. So now with this ball beneath here, we're going to see what happens. This might not have the complete results we want, but you can see that ball is kind of moving this around. Now what's happening is it's going a little bit too fast, and it's getting like ripped out of the cloth, which we don't want. We want it to stay kind of looking like a ghost like this. The easiest way to fix this is to right click on your sphere and show tracks, and you can see this is all happening within about 5 seconds. So if we merely just slow down these keyframes by dragging this out right here, it won't be so turbulent. So now you can see that the cloth isn't falling off like it did before. It's a lot slower. Kind of turn around while this is going. Now see, there's still some intersections and stuff going on. So I'm going to go back to my cloth tag, and I'm going to go back to expert. I'm going to jack this up to like 40 this time, because we don't want to see those intersections in the cloth. And just in case, I'm going to turn this collider on and off, just because I don't want to have any issues. Here we go. The ball is moving around in there. We don't have the intersections going on anymore. Now, you can see the ball going through the top of the cloth. You're not going to want that in your render. You're just going to want the cloth only. So the solution to that is just to go to your sphere and turn it off in render. So you'll see it here. Now you can see what's going on here again. It's that collider. For some reason, you have to turn it off and on to get this to work. I don't quite understand that, but there we go. I'm going to throw a little white texture on here. There we go. There's our ghost. And now I'm going to render it out. And we'll see what we come up with here. And there we go. There's our spooky ghost, powered by our finger on our iPad. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I'd love to hear some different applications. If you come up with applications for using this extension, this plugin, please subscribe to our newsletter, our Brograph newsletter. It goes out once a month. And please subscribe to our YouTube if you'd like to get updates whenever our new tutorials come out. Once we hit 100 subscribers, we'll be doing some live stuff. Subscribe to us on Facebook and Twitter as well, and of course go to Brograph.com where you can get more information about us and the tutorials. Until next time, I'm Dave Koss, and thanks for watching. Later, bros. It's pretty good, I guess.